What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Season 2, Episode 47 of Hit the Books, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of sports and sports gambling. Each episode, we break down the latest news and trends, provide analysis, and offer up our best bets and betting advice. So let's jump into this episode of Hit the Books. On this week's episode, we got some free agency dealings in the NBA and NFL, as well as some news in the NHL, MLB, some golf, and more to round out this episode. Let's start off like we do each and every week by introducing my co-hosts, Huff, Ace, and Mackie. Ace, let's start off with you this week. What do you got for us, buddy?
Yeah, nothing too much. Heating up out here, so getting really into summer. Got some baseball flowing. Got some good off-season news coming as well in all the leagues. So looking forward to talking about it with the boys and get going this week.
Good stuff there, buddy. Mackie, let's shoot over to you next. What do you got for us, man?
Yeah, basically same old. We're in again, dog days of the summer. I know we say it every week, but it's just so hard to get through each week with only MLB. But card's been a little slow. We'll get that picked up. Pretty bad day today, but you know, there's ups and downs to the season, so we'll be back.
Yeah, MLB cards are rough. We're getting cooked. And let's finish it off here with Huff. Huff has a visitor yet again, Max. Oh, looks like he might be leaving, but Huff, here another week. What do you got for us?
Yeah, what's going on, everyone? Happy to be back another week here. Like we said, not too much going on in the sports world, but we're here to make the most of it with what we got. A couple interesting topics I'd like to hear everyone's opinions on, so I'm excited to get into things here.
Good stuff. Yeah, ready for yet another week here. Just about time that we jump right on in. Our starting segment for this week's episode is top 3 sports nicknames of all time. Just something to get us going. Start the episode off. Who wants to get us started?
I'll go here. I had probably about 5 or 6 honorable mentions I could throw in here, just similar to the one that I think Mackie said last week. There's so many honorable mentions, he's not even going to get into it. So that's going to be me here. Number 3, this is my kind of homer pick. I know it's not necessarily one of the better ones, but just growing up hearing it all the time. Number 3, I'm going to go with Sid the Kid. Great, had obviously the greatness to live up to it and all the accolades to go with it. Great nickname. Even in his older years, I mean, I know I still call him it. A lot of people, I mean, around here at least still do, but throughout his younger years, that's what he was known as. Number 2, I'm going to go the Black Mamba. Whenever I say that, you all know who I'm talking about. Kobe, one of my favorite basketball players of all time, an iconic nickname. Everyone tries to mimic the Mamba mentality and all that, so definitely going to go with Kobe, the Black Mamba at number 2. And then number 1, I think this is the most badass sports nickname of all time. It's prime time. Simple as that. Prime time. Deion Sanders. Loved him as number 1. That's always been my favorite sports nickname. I think you get that name. It's when's Deion come to play in the prime time? Anytime. I love that at number 1. Like I said, too many honorable mentions to throw in there, but those are 3 of my favorites. For sure, that number 1 is definitely my favorite of all time.
I like that list, Huff. I do.
Oh, I was muted there, Huff. I was excited to say something. I normally talk to my brother before we jump on the pod, and I was telling him about some of our segments today. And when I mentioned this one quick at the end, he's like, I don't know who I'd go with. But he said, I know definitely Huff is going to have Prime as one of his. And then you come out and have it as your top 1. That's great.
Yeah, it had to be one. That's that dude. That's the hardest nickname in all of sports, in my opinion. I can't I'm interested to hear your guys' top 3 because obviously I think 2 and 3. Those are kind of like guys I'm a fan of. So there's some bias behind the name there. But number 1, I think Primetime's the coolest nickname of all time.
Yeah, I have one similar one to you, so I'll definitely get into mine here. Make it short and sweet. Coming at number 3, I'm going to go with Mr. Hockey. Shout out to Gordie Howe. I mean, rest in peace, of course, but best nickname you could have of all time, in my opinion. The great one's pretty cool, but Mr. Hockey, just being known as that, shout out to him. Coming in at number 2, also had the Black Mamba. Shout out to Kobe. One of the reasons I love basketball today, so rest in peace to him as well. And number 1, I'm going to go with Big Papi. Homer pick, but that's a classic. David Ortiz, how clutch he's been, best designated hitter of all time. All the World Series rings, coming back to Boston after the bombing, saying this is my fucking city. Gotta love David Ortiz. Big Papi, number 1 nickname for me.
I like that David Ortiz one. That is a good one. I didn't think of that one.
Of course, he's thought of it.
Yeah, he's the boy.
That's a great choice. I didn't even think of that one.
I didn't even do any research on these either. I just kind of thought of them off the top of my head. I was like, all right, two of my favorite players, one for each sport, and then Mr. Hockey's just cool, in my opinion.
No Johnny Football up there for you, Ace?
No, he's a dog, but I don't know. His career's kind of shitty, so he ruined it himself.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he that's the kind of nickname. If you have a good pro career, that's an all-time nickname.
Of course.
All right, I can get into mine. We all had this one, but I'm gonna go Black Mamba. Obviously, an iconic nickname, and Kobe's a dog, so that's my number 3. Number 2 is gonna be the great one. I know Ace kind of threw the other hockey nickname in it, or the other iconic hockey nickname in there, but you gotta go with the best athlete or the best 4 major sport athlete of all time, in my opinion. Most dominant in any sport. And number 1, I'm going to go with the juice is loose, O.J. Simpson. Iconic for 2 reasons. And one of them being football, and the other, I think we already know that.
A little bit of off the field.
That's a
Yeah.
good
Jury
one.
is out on that
little-
one. The
Little
jury
off
is
the
out.
field antics. But the juice is loose is an iconic phrase. I love it.
I like it just for the Bronco.
Ford Bronco.
Iconic. You think he was going faster there, or when he was breaking gaps for touchdowns back in the day?
I'd say he's a better running back than Murderer.
I mean, you might be wrong.
That's a good one, Mackie. That's a really fucking good one.
That's one I definitely didn't think about throwing in there. Not because it's a bad one. I just didn't even think of it.
Just so you know, Huff, it's very hard to hear you. You got to be close to your mic. All right, I'm going to jump into my 3 here. I definitely didn't go the top 3 route. I definitely went my favorite 3 is the route. But 3, I went Mario Lemieux, the NHL Super Mario. It's a good one after him coming back from his injury and all that, and just keep playing the game, loving the game. Number 2, Jerome Bettis, the Bus. I always loved him as a kid, and especially in Pittsburgh, like just him being that killer running back style, like so much fun to watch. And number 1,
that's definitely a top one for sure.
and number 1, very interesting one that I don't think any of you would ever think of, Douglas Murray. Huff, do you remember his nickname?
Crankshaft.
Crankshaft. There were people around the arena in Pittsburgh, and I know other cities, with signs saying, "Put it in my 5-hole, Crankshaft." And I just thought it was the funniest thing. I was in like middle school, and we had him on the team for like a year or 2. He was so slow, but oh my God, it was the funniest thing
That's
ever.
the dude that had like 1 goal in like 4 seasons.
Yep.
I don't
He
even
had,
know
like,
who that is.
He had like
Is that
he was a defensive defenseman. They're the Steelers. The Penguins had him in like what 2013.
Yeah.
Stanley Cup champion then?
No.
No. He would have been with us like when the Kings and Blackhawks were winning.
I was going to say, the first 2 that Jesse picked were perennial champions, you know? I mean, I just remember the Bus tearing it up back in the day. He was the guy you didn't want to see on the goal line.
Yeah.
And got a lot of good ones out there in Pittsburgh. No Mean Joe Green.
I thought
Joe
about
Green
it.
was
was
just
one of
thinking
that was one of mine that I was gonna put in there, but I had to have.
That's
Kobe
more
instead.
iconic than best, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, like none of us said Dr. J.
I was thinking about
Too
that too.
basic,
I almost put
though.
the answer in there too.
It's iconic, but
I was
you're
gonna do
right.
the King, LeBron.
Yeah, but I didn't want to be that dick rider.
You should have said the white mamba than the black mamba.
What was Austin Reeves' nickname that he tried to get everyone to stop calling him? AR-15 or something?
Yeah. You hate
It's
to
a sick
see that.
nickname.
Yeah, he got banned.
I think that's a sleeper top 3. AR-15.
It is pretty cool.
There's so many good ones, though. You could just keep going on for days on it.
Oh yeah, that's
You're
what I
right.
mean. That's why I said there's too many honorable mentions to like actually sit down and be like, this is my honorable mention.
If you looked
Like,
into
I could
every
go on.
sport, too, there's so many of them.
I was gonna say you could do them by sport.
Yeah. Good list, boys.
Yeah, that was really good, Huff. I agree. All right, boys. Why don't we jump into some sports here? The MLB, I think, is first on the docket. Power rankings for this past week. Very similar to last week. Just, I think, one change here. Number 5, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Number 4, the Texas Rangers. Number 3, the Baltimore Orioles. Number 2, the Tampa Bay Rays. And coming in at number 1 again, the Atlanta Braves. What are we thinking here as we go into this week here? July 17th. These are as of. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that you and Mackey didn't eke out those Rays for the number 2 spot. I know that the Orioles have probably been playing better baseball of late, but I feel like you got to give them that number 2 spot just at least one more week, and this is going to be very telling for the O's here. But they dropped 2 in a row.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. The Rays are just, I mean, the Orioles are just so good right now, and the Rays are actually just not playing good baseball at all. That's the only reason I had the Orioles over the Rays. But yeah, I think they still have a game on them if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
It's
they had
getting
a
real
couple.
close.
Yeah.
It's getting real close. So those Orioles are good though. I saw a stat today. Um, they haven't lost like 70 straight series that they haven't got swept, which is actually like insane if you think about it. So that's consistency from a team that you wouldn't think would be there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of those teams that you've seen in our top 5 that don't really need much of a discussion. I actually want to touch on some of those teams that are sitting right outside of the race because that changes a bit more frequently. I think Mackey was talking about the Brewers a bit. A lot of people salty the Marlins aren't there. I know the whole AL East is on the tails of the Rays and Orioles, and then you also have the Diamondbacks as well. So, what do you guys think about some of those outliers?
I don't know. Back to what you guys were saying about those Orioles, though. I think I was sitting there. I wanted to put them at that 2 spot, and then I was kind of looking at the standings, looking at the past week, and kind of really looking at the scores. I don't know. I think the Orioles are definitely kind of like with the situation that we had with the Braves, waiting to pass up the Rays and then get that 1 spot. I think we're seeing that happen with this Orioles team, and like you said, that could be next week. But a couple of these other spots, I don't know. There's too many. I haven't actually watched too much in the past week. I kind of took like a lighter week on the Diamond, but I don't know who else. I don't know if anyone else wants to jump in here. I just
tough series for the Marlins here. I'll
Orioles.
say that, Mackie. I know they're sitting right outside, but they've been getting beat up by the Cards here.
Yeah, they definitely fell out a little. I'd say the team's on the cusp. You got the Blue Jays up there now. Blue Jays are playing really good baseball.
That was the one
right there.
I was gonna say they've kind of spiked back up after having a shitty start to the season.
Yeah, they're too good not to.
Yeah.
And look at Manoah. We talked about the downfalls of Manoah. He actually bounced back. I know he didn't pitch too great. I think he was pitching today or yesterday, but his first start back in the MLB, it was pretty dominant, and it was good to see in my opinion.
Yeah, but that pitch clock is beating his ass. I saw it yesterday. He had a 0-2 count against Soto. Soto worked 3-2, and he's like 8-9 pitches into the at bat, and you can see him trying to catch his breath before each pitch. And then Soto took him yard for a 2-run shot. But he had a good game last game, but that pitch clock is definitely beating his ass.
Yeah, that AL East is a slaughterhouse. I mean, it's going to be crazy to see who ends up coming out of it now that the Rays have fallen back to earth. It's funny because so many of them would be leading in any other division. I know we've hit on the Twins a couple of times, even though they're leading their division, not even close to the top 5 in my opinion. That whole division's garbage. But yeah, the Diamondbacks, I know they had that exciting win yesterday. They've fallen off a bit too. So I'm looking at teams like the Brewers. They always have success of most recent years. They're going to be popping up, and they're leading their division now. The Reds as well, still playing great baseball. But
yeah, I like the Brewers as well. They're ace. I mean, I took them the one game they lost out of the last like 5 or 6 or something like that. I'm like, come on. I mean,
but they have those veterans. They've been winning that division how many years in a row now, right?
Yeah, seriously. And then, like, I think the series before this one was against the Reds. And like you said, you're like, Jesse, I can't believe you're not on the Reds. And I was like, because I didn't know. I was starting to like the Brewers. Like, they were starting to be that Reds fill-in for me. And I'm like, but here we are. I didn't take them at all in that series. But what are you going to do?
They're in another tough spot this week as well. I know the Brewers have a tough matchup this week. Can't think of who it is off the top of my head.
Phillies.
Playing tonight. Yeah, that Phillies
right now. They got the Braves next.
Oh,
Mac, you remember a few weeks ago when I was talking to you about those Phillies? I know we were talking about your Mets as well. I was like, one of them is going to turn the corner and make a push towards the playoffs. And it seems like it's the Philadelphia team, huh?
Oh, Philly's been good, yeah. I mean, they were the more expected team. They've been the more consistent team over the years or over the season. I mean, even though neither team was that good in the first 45, 50 games, but they just had more of an upside, and you're seeing it now. They're hitting a streak.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, they have so much potential with that lineup and then that pitching staff they have as well. I think you could see them creep back into the NL East playoffs if they have not already. Probably surpass the Marlins soon. I think they're going to fall off a bit. A lot of young guys. But I'm just interested to see that terrible division I touched on earlier. Who's going to come out of it? The Tigers are starting to play decent baseball. The White Sox have some star power. The Twins are up there, but I don't think they're that good. That's a tough one for me.
He's back to what you were saying. The Phillies are half a game out of a wild card spot right now behind the
they hold
Diamondbacks.
it.
Or do they have it?
Yeah, they have a game over the Marlins.
Okay. You're right.
Yeah, and
I was looking at it wrong. I'm looking at the same thing. I just read that wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't expect them to turn back anytime soon.
Oh, so you're looking at a half a game behind the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have that last wild card spot. Diamondbacks have a half a game on them. Giants have a game and a half on.
Okay. Yeah, I just looked at that wrong. That game back, the plus, and then the whole numbers just confused me.
Well, they added that third wild card team, so.
That's why I'm confused. I always forget they fucking added that. So the dash is they have it. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Phillies are looking good. Marlins are skidding. Reds have lost 6 in a row too. Obviously Padres are kind of scary. They're sitting 7.5 back. I don't know. It's going to be a tough race.
There's rumors the Giants could be one of these teams that land Ohtani if the Angels end up shopping him. I mean, that'd be an interesting spot for him to go to. They said he wants to stay out west. Obviously, the Dodgers are going to be probably the favorite to sign him. Dodgers and obviously the Yankees, all the big spenders. But there's talks of them listening to trades for him before the end of the season, and I think the Giants. People are saying the Giants are probably going to be the favorite to land him if it is via trade.
Here's my thing. I mean, they just lost out on Aaron Judge. They were willing to spend the $550 million. Now is your time to do that. I mean, they're probably going to offer him the most. They want that guy.
I'd like to see him go there. I think that'd be a cool switch up compared to the normal, oh shit, he went to the Dodgers, he went to the Yankees, he went to the Dodgers, he went to the Yankees. Like, bring another fucking team into this. Like, I get not every team's spending that kind of money, but I mean, they're gonna have to give up. They're gonna have to spend the money if they're gonna give up what they're gonna give up to get him in a trade.
That's the MLB. You always have the same team because no salary caps. They just offer a shit ton of money. But yeah.
Dude, I saw something the Padres are going to be a favorite to sign him too. Like, where the fuck are the Padres getting all this money?
Dude, they could just take it out of their pocket.
It's crazy. It's truly like they act like the MLB. They just, if they want guys, they truly just go get them. When you have an owner that wants to spend. I mean, that's what happened with the Mets when he first got there. I mean,
yeah, he just took it out of his pocket, dude.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it's a flaw in the system, but that's why the MLB is always so top heavy and always will.
Yeah, we had a pretty electric night of baseball on Tuesday night. 12 teams in the MLB scored double digits for the first time since 1894, coming in at the second of all time of number of games with double digits, just shy of the record of 13 games. 3 games ended with a score of 11-10 on the same day for the first time in MLB history. So just an electric game of baseball, something like 203 runs scored on Tuesday night, which is unfathoming across 20 games, like just crazy.
I was only we were at the Pirate game. Shout out to my people at MGM. You know who you are, but shout out for the tickets. Appreciate that. But I saw my Pirates give up one of these 10-run games and watch the Guardians beat us. I think it was 10-1 the final, but had the nerve. That shit was cooked before we even got an out. Mitch Keller looked terrible. So definitely the Guardians came to play last night. I didn't keep track of too many of these other games. I know you guys said that Diamondbacks-Braves game got pretty out of hand, and I saw some highlights. The guy in front of me at the game was watching it. I just kept my eye on the score, and what was the final score? 16-13. So
yeah,
both teams scoring over 10 in that one. That's looking like almost like a lacrosse score, I feel like. But I don't know. I wasn't keeping up with that. I saw Austin Riley had a multi-home run game, had a big game for the Braves, but in a losing effort. So I also saw that Corbin Carroll highlight. But Mackie, were you watching that game?
No, I wasn't. I was watching the Met game for most of the night, but I just kept checking the score, and it was ridiculous. It was 2-0, then 5-2, then 7-5, then 10-7.
It was a good watch. I'll tell you that. I had the MLB big inning up, so they were always up, taking over that with all the runs. But Corbin Carroll, I mean, he was swiping bags, hitting triples and singles. The whole lineup, though, for both teams was popping off. But at the same time, there was other games. There's an 11-10 Giants-Reds game. There was 15 runs from the Cubs. There's high scores all over the place last night. Probably was the best day in baseball, in my opinion. Wow.
It is.
As long as you're not a pitcher.
That's what they're looking for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I texted you guys when it was in the first inning of the first 7 games, 7 o'clock games, and it was 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 3-0, 4-0, and I was like, what is going on? And the consistency was all night. Even the Twins last game of the night won 10-3. Putting up numbers, it's cool. Balls
Fun
are
to
juice.
watch. And a lot of the games are competitive, though. Like, I know that Cubs game ended 15-3 over the Nats, but there was back and forth games all night. The lead changes in that Diamondbacks Braves game, the lead changes in the Reds and Giants. The Mets almost blowing that 11-10 win. David Robertson was begging to sell that game, but they held on. I mean,
it was more than David Robertson. It was a group effort in that bullpen.
Yeah, Mackey's wearing it on the chin. I mean, I almost texted you when it was 6-1 and on live bet him, and then I texted you after I was following it on the ESPN app early, and I was like 6-2. They just narrowly escaped disaster. They had the runners on second and third, no outs. I was like, oof, it's gonna get close, and then it ended up being closer than it should have been.
Against the White Sox,
11 runs.
it's not even a good team.
11 runs, and you got to sweat the victory. That's crazy.
That's just the vibe of last night, though. I mean, 3 teams scored over 13 points. 13 runs. That's ridiculous.
Honestly, is just fathoming to have that many runs in one day of baseball, but we'll probably see it again here.
Good day to take that grand salami, Mackie.
Yeah.
I don't take it for baseball. I'm going to start, though.
You should.
That's my hockey bet.
All right, boys. Next point I have here. In the same game that Joey Votto... Is it Votto or... Yeah.
Votto.
In the same game that Joey Votto became the second player in Reds franchise history to reach the 350 home run mark, Camilo Doval became the first pitcher to 30 saves this season as the San Francisco Giants continue to surge in the NL West. Which of these two NL teams had a better chance of cracking the playoffs this season, boys?
That's
Definitely the Giants. Definitely the Giants.
Yeah, you guys started saying that already.
About this.
Such a tough call.
Reds are sliding. I think the Giants are overall the better team. Giants are slept on. 13 games over 500 right now.
The way I look at it is that the divisions are very different looking. The NL West is a beast. Meanwhile, all you have to really do is fight with the lowly Brewers. I mean, I know we're saying they're good, but it's not like a juggernaut.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about division winners, I don't think the Giants are going to have to win the division. I don't think if the Reds want to get there, I don't think they're gonna beat out the Brewers at this point. Brewers are playing really good baseball. Reds are kind of showing who we thought they were going to be this year, even though obviously they're still 4 games over 500. It's not really, they have no security right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're a young team, and I feel like they're definitely going to face hurdles in the second half, especially with the pitching staff the way it is. But I'm not really sold on that Giants lineup. I think it's pretty light, honestly. And they have a tougher schedule down the stretch. I mean, you got to think it leans favoring the team from the NL Central rather than the team in the NL West. They're going to play some high intensity games versus the Dodgers and Diamondbacks, and you got the Padres still fighting for their lives as well. Nothing free out there.
The new schedule is you don't really play your division that often. You play every team now, so your divisional games are decreased.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot more pressure on the Giants than the Reds. But either of those teams, I wouldn't be surprised if they both end up missing the playoffs. Honestly, I like some
Mets in there.
I like some of those other guys, like the Phillies. I think the Padres can still turn it up. I know it's a skip and a hope right now, but there's a lot better teams, in my opinion, than those two. But we'll see with the expanded wildcard spots.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd like to see the Giants sneak in there. That's a team that I always kind of sneaky root for. They don't really have any like big name this year. One guy I've always liked is Jock Peterson, and he's been having a pretty decent year for them. They have him at DH, Yastrzemski. They don't really have any guys that are like true superstars. But I don't know. This team I've always rooted for. I always liked their uniforms when I was younger. When they won the World Series with Lincecum, Posey. I love that team, and they haven't been too great since, but that'd be a team I'd like to see get back in there for sure.
If anything, I wouldn't mind seeing the Bay in the postseason.
Exactly. That's half the reason I like that team, because of their stadium. I've never been there. That's obviously the one I want to go to.
I'm big on the Giants too. Ever since they won me that plus 1,200 future bet, I've just loved them.
What was your plus 1,200 future on them?
Dude, I got them to win the division in like 2021, I want to say. To win the division, like 40 games into the season, they're like 13 games over already, and they're plus 1,200 because of the Dodgers, obviously. But I took it, and they were up like 14 games like halfway through the season, and it came down to literally the last game of the season. But it hit.
That's a crazy cash.
Yeah, that was nice. probably my best cash ever.
Lots of good stuff there, boys. We got a little scheduling update for next season. They announced the 2024 international schedule. Games being played in various parts of the world. March 9th through 10th will be the Rays and the Red Sox in Santo Domingo. March 20th to 21st, Dodgers and Padres in Seoul, South Korea. April 27th to 28th, Rockies versus Astros in Mexico City. June 8th to 9th, Mets versus Phillies in London, United Kingdom. The Dodgers and the Padres will be opening their season in the Seoul series. So some pretty interesting stuff that they're announcing in the MLB. Cool to see these international games, especially, we know we like them in the NFL, and the NHL ones are all right. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I was going to say that compare it to the NFL. I mean, I like how these leagues are expanding out there. Get some more viewership, bring some more dollars, and just get some more hype around the world. Maybe see those contracts inflate in the salary caps as well. Not so much, obviously, in baseball, but
I get all these other matchups. How'd they come up with Rockies Astros?
probably just Rockies haven't been anywhere. The Astros are one of the best teams in the MLB.
That's what I mean.
Rockies
Astros. They're just sending the Rockies to Mexico to get
They're
slaughtered.
sending a high elevation team to go play in higher elevation.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Maybe they're just they're used to it, but they're over game for sure. Definitely slap that game 1 next year rather than game 2 when it gets inflated.
Dodgers, Padres, and South Korea is dope.
Yeah, that's a sick series. Especially the 2 West Coast teams, it makes sense. They definitely have a fan base.
It'll be on at
and
6 a.m.
Yeah, shortest plane ride. Good stuff there. Next one I have. We already knew the MVP frontrunner Shohei Ohtani leads the MLB in home runs, but you know that he's now the league leader in triples after last night's win over the Yankees. He sits with 7 triples on the season. Just another impressive feat for the boy.
Surprising to me. I mean, he's a pitcher. Think about other pitchers that, especially lights out pitchers, and then he's a home run hitter. But oh wait, he's also very fast too. What does this guy not do?
Did you see his bat flip the other night?
No.
Which one? Against the Yankees.
His 32nd home run?
He's at 35, dude.
It wasn't the best bat flip, but he nuked that ball. It got out of there. It didn't look. I didn't think it looked like it was getting out of there.
No,
I wasn't watching that game, but he knew it was out.
He knew it was out. I was playing poker with my boys, and it was 3-1, and he bet on the Yankees, and he was like, "Watch, Ohtani's up, 2-run shot. 2 pitches later, he hits a home run. This guy is so good." You guys think? You guys think he breaks the record? He breaks Aaron Judge's record?
Yeah.
It's crazy considering he pitches every 5 days, but I do. I kind of alluded
I don't think
breaking...
he smokes it. I think he beats it though.
You got to remember
if you look at the pace, he's on that pace to just beat it narrowly.
Well,
I think that's exactly what he'll do.
96 games in, I think they were exact even. But if you remember last season, Judge was stuck at 60 for a month.
Yeah, I remember that.
He couldn't get 61 or 62, and then he got it in the last 5 years.
It felt like to get from 61 to 62 to 63. Those last 3 took 3 weeks.
He only hit 62.
The way I look at it is...
Or you know what I mean? 60, 61, 62.
Yeah.
Those pitchers don't want to be that guy that gives up that home run.
He was also getting
I could definitely
walked
see Shohei
crazy.
hit
Exactly.
63.
Pitch around them.
Yeah. Which is kind of messed up. He's going for a record. Give him a damn pitch. Half those teams weren't even in a playoff race.
You want to be that no-name reliever in the history books?
Yeah, that's how you get your name out there.
Not for a good thing. I alluded to it in our breaking news earlier in the week. Do you guys think he gets dealt by the deadline as a rental piece?
Who?
Ohtani.
Yeah.
He was minus odds. I think he was minus 140 to be traded by the deadline, which is crazy.
Think about the haul you have to give up, though. You have to have such a deep prospect pool. That's why I allude to the Rays, the Orioles. But, that's such a haul you got to give up for, half a season. I know you could get a World Series, but, he's probably not re-signing.
How badass would it be if the Angels shipped him off at the deadline and then re-signed him next season on his contract year?
Yeah,
you got to give up.
I thought the Red Sox were going to do that with Mookie Betts.
Alrighty, boys. Yeah, now that we're officially in the second half of the MLB season, why don't we get an updated World Series championship pick from everybody? I got the odds right here. The Braves are leading the pack at plus 340. Dodgers behind them at plus 430. Rays behind them at plus 500. Astros plus 850. Rangers plus 950. and the Toronto Blue Jays plus 1,900. So a big gap there, but that's going to round out the top 6. I think I read there 6. Yeah.
The futures odds are vary so much through each sports book.
You're right.
I thought you were going to say throughout the season because of all the dips and trips and
No, but
turns.
Blue Jays are 1,500 on DraftKings.
We're just
400.
we're giving a straight shot answer here. I'm definitely gonna go with the Astros, a team that's still playing great baseball. They're missing stars like Jose Altuve and Yordan Alvarez. They're coming back soon. Their pitching staff's gonna get healthier as well. I mean, that's a team you don't want to see in the playoffs, and I feel like a lot of teams go feared. I know a lot of people hate them, but at this halfway point, I feel like there's great value on the Houston Astros to win the World Series.
I actually have a future on them to win the AL East. I got it at plus 350 when I had a free bet on MGM at one point. I threw it on that. I just like the money, and like I think Mackey made the point that they have a better chance to win the AL than to win their own division because of the way that the Rangers started out. And I do agree with that. I like that World Series pick for the Astros. I definitely like them to get there. I think the easy pick is you're going to hear a lot of people say the Braves. I'd love to see a Braves-Astros World Series. I think that'd be great. That's a rematch, correct? Yeah, I'd like to see that. Give me Braves Astros. I think that's the easy answer, but I'm not sold on these Rays. I think the Dodgers will die off, but I like Atlanta to run through the NL. It's not going to be as easy as it seems, but I think they will get there.
Yeah, I don't know how you can't pick Atlanta to be up there. I mean, sitting at what did you say, 340 odds plus 340?
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously not the best odds, so I wouldn't really place that bet, but I mean, this team is just so good, so dominant. I think that they really set themselves apart from the league. I think they're at a different level. Not even just like right now, all season they've been consistent. 30 games over 500 already. Still almost half the season to go. So I like this Braves team. I also like the Blue Jays as a sleeper. They have good odds plus 1,900, and that team's getting really hot. They have the lineup for it. They have the pitching for it. They get hot at the right time, and they can definitely do some damage.
They keep Manoah off the field.
Yeah, they'll trim that rotation down.
I mean, with Gausman, Barrios, and they got a few other guys. Kikuchi's pitching well.
Kikuchi is pitching pretty well past it.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that team's deep, and then, like you said, their lineup's gross as well. That's some good odds at plus 1,500. I definitely saw some value with the Astros as well at plus 850, so definitely why I threw it there with a safer play. Anyone else that jumps into your mind maybe as a value play in the NL or AL?
Mets.
No.
Eight,
I think the
plus
Orioles
8,000.
would be a fun bet for the AL.
Orioles. I was thinking maybe Phillies.
The Giants, buy the Giants now. If you think Ohtani's getting moved, wherever you think Ohtani's getting moved, I'd buy a future on that team.
Would that be a trade and then sign, I think? I think he'd sign if he went to a West Coast team, Loki. If he's getting shipped somewhere where he doesn't want to re-sign, it's going to be in the middle of the country or out east. But I think that Phillies team, I know that you probably can find good value on the Giants, but the Phillies team actually has the star power, the talent, and they have great odds right now, and they've been there before.
I'm trying to find the odds on the Phillies.
Like, think about
17.
Giants and Phillies. Like, that Phillies team, they had the most talent out of any of these wild card contenders.
Yeah, I'm not sold on the Padres. Like Yankees, no. I like the Orioles. That's probably my value pick, I guess you'd say, plus 2,000.
Yeah.
I like the Orioles too, but I don't think they'll get there this year.
Yeah, me either.
All right, so I'll go pick 850 with the Astros, value 1,900 with the Phils.
Yeah, I'll go Braves plus 340 is my pick, and my value is definitely the Blue Jays plus 1,900.
I'm going Braves Astros.
I don't love the Astros this year. I really don't like the way they play.
But that's
baseball.
good odds. They
I
don't
know
even
you
have
said
Altuve and Alvarez.
and Alvarez are not back, but I don't know. I don't love it.
The staff is going to get healthier too.
And they've been there, done that.
Mm.
How many
Lineup's
times?
so deep. And you got to think, Jose Abreu, if they get in the postseason, I know he's had a down year, but he's a guy that can show up in the postseason.
I thought that was a huge signing for them when they brought him in.
A bit past his prime, but definitely thought he was going to perform better. But as long as they get to the playoffs, doesn't matter how he did during the season.
I was gonna say exactly. Like they're a team. They're ready for the postseason as soon as the season starts. And I don't think they really expected Texas to do what they're doing. I actually saw a stat today. Texas is on their first 6-game win streak of the season. So you're telling me that team has been that hot all year and they've never won back or swept back-to-back series? I was kind of surprised about that.
That means they haven't had many ups and downs. They've probably just been consistently good.
Yeah. They go like 4-2 every other series. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they'll take a series 2-1 every time.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say though, I memean, we got to see how it shakes out, but they're not that far ahead of the Astros anymore. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised once Altuve and Jordan come back if they can flop ahead of them.
You want to see division odds for them?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's like 215 for the Astros.
120 for the Astros, minus 150 for the Rangers.
They're 2 games back, aren't they?
I couldn't tell you. Let me look.
I can look at that, Mackie.
4.5.
4.5.
Yeah, I think the Rangers will keep that pace. I think they'll end up winning that division, but it's definitely going to be a pretty tight race towards the end of the season.
You think those Astros still find their way into the postseason though?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're definitely a postseason team, but they could get a tough matchup. First series though.
Alrighty, boys, lots of good stuff there out of the MLB. We're in that second half of the season, so just keep trekking along until we get to the start of the NFL, the NHL, and the MLB, or the NBA. Let's shift our focus over to the NHL. The first point I have here is Alex Galchenyuk announced on Twitter that he will be checking into the NHL and NHLPA player assistant program following his recent arrest. Some details on his arrest. The 29-year-old was arrested on charges of private property hit and run, disorderly conduct, failure to obey, resisting arrest, and threatening or intimidating. Galchenyuk, who was born in the United States to Belarusian parents, said he could make one phone call to connections in Russia and you're all dead, according to police. He also allegedly told a cop he was going to chop you, your wife, and your daughter. He was released from the Coyotes just 12 days after signing a 1-year deal with them. The move came less than a week after his arrest. So just honestly mad.
So this is what happened. I never knew what happened.
No, I knew he was also saying like a bunch of racist things.
Yeah.
But,
I guess he was hopped up on something.
Damn.
Yeah, or he's just drugged out. Could be doing crack.
Something, dude.
Damn. I don't have much to say. Holy shit, that's something, yeah. Because I think last week was the one whenever I put it in there that the NHLPA was looking into why he was cut so fast, and I bet they found this, and they were like, yeah, let's do what we can to keep this story under wraps. Like, we don't need this to get out.
Not hitting the front page. The NHL does not need this.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen, though. Galchenyuk was once a star player in the league, and now he's toughest point of his life.
You know what's crazy? I was just going to say, that's a perfect point, Ace. He's not even that good anymore. If this happened in the NBA to any bench player, this would be front page of ESPN.
Agreed.
Even
100%.
NFL. Front page. It could be a practice squad player in the NFL.
Would you call the NHL a better league for keeping this under the table, though, while he deals with himself?
I think it's just easier because they're the NHL and they're not the NFL or NBA.
They don't.
The
I was going to say, I don't think they could.
So differently, though.
And the NHL already has that racist aspect to them that people already kind of
accept.
Yeah.
In the wrong way.
But I think this was pretty important that they didn't want it to get out, considering he did say racist things in the middle of it. But I don't know. I think if the NFL and the NBA would not be able to hide this.
I was gonna say, as long as you know what I mean when I say that, the NFL and the NBA, they would not even be able to they wouldn't even be able to know about it before it was already on the front page of something.
You hate to see news like that, though.
Yeah, it honestly is terrible. Because that's not him. We all know it's not him. Alrighty, boys, let's get to some better news here. But Patrick Kane is yet to ink a new deal heading into the new season. He recently stated that he's feeling young and has a lot to offer. Where do we think he ends up? He's got to end up somewhere. What do we think?
I put this in there, and I'm not too sure where I think he ends up, but I know he has a place in the NHL, especially today's NHL.
Yeah, I think he'll find a spot that he'll fit. I mean, I thought he was going to go into that Rangers team and light things up, which, I mean, he started out all right, but Mackie, don't you think he was pretty underperforming in the red, white, and blue?
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I didn't expect what everybody else expected from him. I mean, I know he's old. I know he has.
I expected more from Tarasenko than Kane.
Tarasenko did well, though.
No, I know that. I'm not shit talking Tarasenko. I expected more. I'm not saying like I did expect more from Tarasenko than Kane, but like I feel like he was underwhelming. Like the big three was in the playoffs, though.
It was so weird because like the first 2 games of the playoffs, Kane was probably the best player on the ice, and then the last 5, it looked like he had no idea what he was doing out there. Very weird. I don't think he ever found his way with this team. I think there's still potential for it if he does end up re-signing, but I think that's kind of off the table at this point. I don't think Drury really wants to. I'm pretty sure Drury would have figured it out by now if he was going to keep him on the team. But yeah, he did have surgery this off season, so he could maybe be back to normal a little better this upcoming season. But I think he definitely still has a lot to offer in this league.
I think a cool fit for him would be someone. I don't know if they could make the money work, but someone like Dallas. I think they just lost Max Domi. That's a team on the cusp of winning a Stanley Cup, and they could add him like the Rangers did, but with a full offseason, I think he might have more impact, especially on the culture down there in Dallas. Bring some winning culture.
That's a good point. I was gonna say I don't know if they same situation. I don't know if they have the money or what it would look like. But a team I also wouldn't want to see him go to is the Islanders, that I think he would fit well with. Add some skill to that kind of deep
be the
team.
Centerpiece of their team.
Him, Barzal.
That would be a good fit. They could definitely pay him.
Islanders miss out on every single player they're supposed to get.
I think if he already didn't
like
playing in New York for the Rangers, he's not going to go to the Isles.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I think that would be a decent fit for him. Give him more of the spotlight like he had in Chicago. Not saying he wants that, but
end of his career, I think he's got to go south. Either one of these southern or western teams, like a lot of those older NHL veterans do.
LA Kings.
Yeah, someone like that. I would say the Panthers, but I know they don't need them. But someone south, I think Dallas would be a good fit. But
LA would be kind of a cool spot to see him in LA.
No way they're affording him after that Anze Kopitar deal.
Yeah, they gave Anze Kopitar half the franchise, and now they can't afford anyone else.
Yeah, I'm hyped to see it. We'll definitely keep you guys updated on this one, but I have a feeling it's going to be coming within the next month.
Good stuff there, boys. Yeah, NHL's heating up. We got that season coming up, beginning of October. Definitely going to see some more trades and pickups and things as we get closer to that season. Let's shift our focus over to the NFL. The first one I got here. Some of the biggest names in the league weren't able to reach agreements on new deals with their respective teams. The franchise tag deadline came and went on Monday, and running backs Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley will be among those who plan to sit out training camp. Raiders and the Giants are not expected to see Jacobs and Barkley until later this summer. What does this mean for the two top 5 running backs for this season?
This is interesting. Things are getting really interesting in the NFL for running backs. We saw a lot of the running backs speaking out on this. A lot of them on social media. Najee Harris, Austin Eckler. A lot of them were coming to defend a lot of these running backs that are going to be sitting out to defend themselves. And I saved a couple of these things I read. I'll get into some of what these players put out on social media. Derrick Henry said, at this point, just take the running back position out of the game then. The ones that want to be great and work as hard as they can to give their all to an organization just seems like they don't even matter. I'm with every running back that's fighting to get what they deserve. Jonathan Taylor, if you're good enough, they'll find you. If you work hard enough, you'll succeed. If you succeed, you boost the organization, and then it doesn't matter if you're a running back. A lot of these and then Austin Eckler had my favorite one. This is kind of trash that has artificially devalued one of the most important positions in the game. Everyone knows it's tough to win without a top running back, and they act like we're, what's that say, discardable widgets. I can support any running back doing whatever it takes to get his bag. So a lot of McCaffrey, Najee, a lot of other guys speaking out. And then one other thing I saw, an anonymous NFL GM on the current running back market said, I'd rather draft one very high and let him walk after 5 years than pay them big money.
One thing I have to say about this, which I do agree, running backs do get underpaid, and I don't really know why.
The average for running backs has actually gone down in the past 3 years.
It's 2.6, and the average for a kicker is like 3.4. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're so undervalued. But if you think about it, the last few running backs to win the Super Bowl have not been guys you would think to win. It's not the top guys, top 5 guys. One was Leonard Fournette, which, like, granted, okay, he's decent, but he's not a top 5 running back. Wouldn't even put him top 10. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Isaiah Pacheco, like, these guys are not top 5 running backs in the league. They're not even really top 10. And
no.
It's been a weird trend with that, but, I mean, I don't think running backs win championships.
I agree with you that I agree with the NFL execs and coaches as well that it's better to reuse recycle those running backs and get the fresh legs in. But to counterpoint your stat that I see almost everywhere about these salaries of starting running backs in the NFL, and you don't need a great one to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, but the only position you really need a great one at is quarterback. You could say the same about almost every other position too. I mean, I know there's probably some exceptions there, but like that means other positions are undervalued too. Like how many stud middle linebackers have won the Super Bowl? You know what I mean? But going back on that, another reason for the lower running back salary compared to kicker too is you roster 4 and only one of them is really getting paid if he's getting paid at all. So, I mean, those are some counterpoints to that. But I do agree with you. I wouldn't value that running back position too much. But I do think there's a place, and some of these teams that have no passing game could definitely look into upgrading their running game with one of these stud running backs.
Yeah, but when you think of the best players on a team, you're thinking of the quarterback, running back. You're thinking of the skill positions. You would assume the skill positions get paid the most, and they just don't.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. But the depth at which they go through is also messes with that average. But I'm eager to see where these.
Yeah, but even so, I mean,
I'm eager to see where these guys sign. Who's going to be the first one to sign? That I'm not even talking about the guys who are holding out because that's a whole different story. But the guys like Zeke, Cook, Fournette, there's a lot of good free agent running backs out there. Whole running back market is crazy.
I agree. There's obviously a lot, and there's a reason they're still available too, because I think this is what's happening with what's going on. No one wants to pay them.
I hope a good running back can go on to win a Super Bowl this year to break that trend, because I think there's a big place in the game for a big bell cow running back to tote the rock 30 plus times a game. You can win with that style of football still.
Who is Phillies running back?
Miles Sanders.
And they won it?
Wait, who are we talking about?
Like Garrett Blunt, Jay Ajayi, and they had like a committee.
Jordan Howard.
Yeah, I mean, you're not even like when the Patriots won it last. Who'd they have?
James White.
The Patriots.
Garrett Blunt.
The Patriots skew all these. The Patriots and Chiefs skew all these because you have arguably the 2 best quarterbacks of all time, Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. Like they're better than everybody. They're going to end with more rings than anybody else all time, and they're skewing this because they don't need running backs.
Okay, but think about. Okay, let's go back. Jamal Charles never won one. LaDainian Tomlinson never won one. Adrian Peterson
I agree with you.
The best running backs don't have rings.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But I still think there's a big place to them, and you can get to the postseason. I don't think they're the reason that teams don't win. I think they contribute. Good running backs contribute to team success.
No, I agree, but I don't think it's skewed because of Tom Brady and Mahomes. I think it's pretty consistent.
I mean, that's what
I think it means more that a running back can't win a Super Bowl by themselves, obviously, because they're just not important.
Well, just the best quarterbacks win the Super Bowls. Even outside of Brady and Mahomes, a lot of really good quarterbacks win them as well. And you're putting your money elsewhere. So I think the quarterback's the most important position. So those teams with the running backs usually get phased out in the conference round and divisional round.
Yeah, for sure. But I think he's saying it's like you can't spend $16 million on a running back and expect to go far whenever you need that money elsewhere. This is a salary cap league. Like you can't be giving the guy that's getting, if in today's NFL, these running backs are getting 30, 20 touches a game. It's not even like the old school, like when we were growing up and guys were getting 30, 35 touches a game. Like, yeah, there's some, your Derrick Henry where he's still going to bully ball for 30 a game. But I don't know. I just think a lot of these teams, like when you have your running back eating up a lot of salary, that's why I'm very interested to see what the Steelers do with Najee Harris in the next couple of years. Obviously, kind of a underperforming last season after being very overused and abused his rookie year. But we'll have to see what comes with a lot of these young running backs because I think it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's such a tough call on all these. Like I agree with all the points you guys are saying. Just trying to bring up a different viewpoint. One thing to think about though is, do some of these former teams that lost the Super Bowl have a better chance at winning if they got one of these top end guys? Say you added
if Saquon Barkley was on the Eagles last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Miles Sanders was a dog last year. Joe Mixon was a dog the year before.
That's what I'm saying. But no, these guys are much better than that.
There's that second tier. Mac, you even go McCaffrey.
Okay, well, if you're gonna add Derrick Henry to one of those teams, then yeah, it's different. But that's like saying if you add Pat Mahomes, then you like.
No, but it's not. There's a lot of guys better than Miles Sanders and Joe Mixon that aren't getting paid.
Joe Mixon's definitely up there. I wouldn't say a lot of guys are better than him.
All the guys Sanders, holding out right now are though. That are getting
not
screwed
like
over.
Zeke. I probably wouldn't even take
Eckler, Barkley, and Henry. Those are 3 for you.
Oh, holding out. Okay.
Jacobs.
Yeah. You had those guys. You had any of those guys to the Eagles last year? I think they could have won that game.
Well, I think if they didn't call the pass interference, then
they did win.
They would have won the game. If you had a guy like him, of course you're going to win the game. But I know what you're saying. Yeah, it does make sense. But I mean,
just a way to think about it. I think they got to get paid at some point.
But when you think of a team, when you think of a winning team, you need a quarterback. You need to have someone for him to throw it to, and you need people to protect him. So you have your receivers, your quarterback, and then your line. And then there's no money to go to that running back when you have an entire defense to fund as well.
Agreed. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out because these guys have the skill to get paid, but will they? Is the question.
It's a smarter move to pay your 5 offensive linemen top tier money and plug any guy in at running back, in my opinion. And
it is.
Well, look at my team the whole career. I've learned that from the Belichick mantra like my whole life. I mean, we haven't needed a running back.
And you saw 6 Super Bowls for that exact reason because you had the best quarterback in the league. You had 90% of the time the best receiver in the league or best person to throw it to, and the line was stacked as well.
I'd rather pay on my whole line and defense. That's
the recipe to winning a championship in the NFL, and that's why the teams with the best running backs don't win because their running backs making too much money and their money's not going somewhere else.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Just had to bring up that other side of the coin. That's what these running backs are thinking nowadays.
Sucks to be a running back.
Even the Steelers. Like the Steelers are a good example. We took Najee in the first round 2 years ago. This going into his 3rd year, something like that. And he has Jalen Warren right behind him. That's like a very good second option. And I'm a huge Najee guy.
I also love fresh legs. I like fresh legs.
Yeah.
Like Pacheco even better last year because not only was he a rookie, but he sat out the first half of the year. So those legs were ready to go, and you saw it in the Super Bowl.
That's why I made the point that I made about Zeke a couple weeks ago when we were talking about where will he go. I think he's best fitted to go to a new situation like that where he's not the top guy or not necessarily. It's kind of like a 1A, 1B situation because in his older years, if he's only getting 18 carries, 15 to 18 carries a game, he can make the most out of those, whereas he's expected to get 4 yards on 3rd and 4 or a tough 2nd and 6 and needs to make it 3rd and short kind of situation. I just feel like it's a better fit in the NFL now for these running backs. Like if they're gonna abuse you when you're the star, and they keep talking about the running backs are gonna make their own union and there's all this bullshit, they should just start doing what the NFL does and just team up with each other and be like, all right, let's both go sign here and we're both gonna split 20 carries a game, whatever. I mean, they'll never do that because the money won't line up, but. I mean, if they don't want to get used and abused like that, that's what they'd have to do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out because these guys definitely deserve a spot in the league.
I saw someone say they should just learn how to throw and then they can play quarterback.
Literally, I mean, that's one thing we didn't even say. The quarterbacks nowadays taking away running touches from their running backs.
Yeah, like there's no reason for a team like the Eagles or the Ravens to go out and spend $12 million, $13 million on a running back when you have that option every time he rolls out.
See, I kind of think there is. I think it would be kind of a cool fit if the Ravens had a good running back.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I always thought they should have gotten Dalvin Cook because then you could have like the best of both worlds with your read option, but they just
like you truly don't know where that ball's going.
Yeah,
a team like the Ravens probably could because they don't even have the receivers.
Yeah, they don't pay the receivers. All they do is pay their defense. Like that's all they care about.
But the Eagles have their money elsewhere, and that's why they're in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, you guys said it. The running backs are definitely getting the short end of the stick, but I have a feeling that's going to change here in the next few years. So we'll definitely keep tabs on that. Next up, the Dallas Cowboys and running back Tony Pollard have not reached an agreement on a long-term extension before Monday's 4 p.m. deadline for franchise players to sign long-term deals this season. Pollard will now play on his 1-year franchise deal before becoming a free agent at the end of this upcoming season. Mackie, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it'll be pretty Dallas to lose two good running backs in 2 years. So, looking forward to him leaving next year.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, though. He's a young, up-and-coming running back, and they're already ready to not pay him.
Yeah, like he's done something wrong. Like you just kicked out your franchise running back.
I was going to say, all he's done is sit behind Zeke, come in, and just do exactly what's asked of him. He had a hell of a year last year coming in. That's the reason they got rid of Zeke. They know they're good with him. They have him on a 1-year deal, and like they're basically already saying, like, yeah, we'll see how you do as the starter, which is a good thing. Like, I see what they're saying. Like, he hasn't been a true number one running back in the NFL. And obviously the Cowboys have their eyes set on the playoffs. We'll have to see what kind of year he has going towards the playoffs and throughout the year. Obviously, pending he stays healthy the whole year. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. They're already like, when Zeke moved out, we were all like, oh yeah, Pollard, that's Pollard's team now. That's going to be Pollard's team. And it's like in a year that he could be on his way out, like Mackie just said.
Correct.
Yeah, crazy stuff. I mean, again, all about that running back era. We'll see what happens. Next up, wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins has officially agreed to a 2-year deal with the Tennessee Titans. I know we were talking about that, I think, last week. So what are you guys thinking?
Ace, you can hit that want button for this one. That's a big L for him, if you ask me.
Nah, here's when he comes in and says that he didn't even want him.
No, the big thing is I think that's where careers go to die. I mean, look at it. Randy Moss, but AB play there at all? No, I don't know.
No.
But there's a lot of guys.
No, there was a few I saw. There was a
few.
few.
You go to Tennessee for your career to die, and I was getting into it on Twitter.
Julio?
Julio, with someone the other day talking about how they think Ryan Tannehill is the Messiah and whatnot. You saw that on our replies on our tweet about Huff's Minute Monday reel regarding Hopkins, but I don't think he teeters the spectrum at all for the Titans. I still think this is the
division.
Jaguars
Not only did
lose.
their Super Bowl odds not change, their division odds didn't even change.
No, because they don't
Ain't
throw the
that bad
ball
of a
much as it
division.
is. They had. I don't understand why you do that when you're trying to develop some young guys like Traylon Burks. You're gonna add D-Hop now.
They didn't want to pay for.
I was just gonna say they didn't want to
10
pay
years younger
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, but you're willing to pay the money for 35-year-old DeAndre Hopkins. Says a lot about that team and why they can never win.
Yeah.
Unless they're sending Tom Brady down to Tampa.
For as good as he is, though, I do like DeAndre Hopkins. I hope he balls out there. Hope for some more highlights like the Hail Murray, like when he was in Arizona.
Yeah.
In some of those Texans days.
I saw someone say DeAndre Hopkins might be going for the all worst NFL uniform career.
Texans
color rush.
Texans,
color
Cardinals,
rush.
Titans. The graphic of it is brutal. It's like the Cardinals like all red jerseys with the white helmet, and like the Texans like all blue color rush, and then the Titans all blue color rush. It looks brutal.
Those are actually ugly ass jerseys.
He's a bag chaser, not a rain chaser.
Yeah. He was posting that stuff like he's so excited to play with Derrick Henry. It's like, dude, you're so excited to get $15 million.
We've only seen Derrick Henry throw one touchdown pass. He's not throwing it to you very often.
Yeah, like what are you? I get it. That's what I was saying. I'm like, good. This kind of stuff you'd want to see a receiver posting with the quarterback, but he doesn't really know who the quarterback is right now. So
when Ryan Tannehill is questionable and ending up as out for multiple weeks in a row, and Malik Willis is throwing for 50 yards a game, I'm sure he might regret taking $12 million.
I was gonna say
15 yards a game.
Malik Willis is throwing. Maybe his stat line would be like 9 for 16. 68 yards and 2 picks.
Yeah. Remember that primetime game versus the Chiefs?
Yeah. Didn't he put up a fight? I think isn't that the one that they Titans covered that game, didn't they?
Yeah, they went to overtime.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
But do you remember Malik Willis's stat line in his debut?
No.
I think he threw for less than 100 yards, maybe less
so
than 80
it was similar
yards.
to what I just said, maybe without the picks.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for football.
We're getting there. 50 days away. The next one I have here is linebacker Alex Highsmith, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have agreed to terms on a 4-year, $68 million extension. It's kind of hitting home here. Huff, what do you think?
I like this deal. I did not see this coming. When Ace sent me that, that was the first I heard of it. I looked it up and obviously found the article about it. Saw the Steelers posting about it this morning. I like the move. Initially, I didn't know what kind of money they were going to pay him, how kind of long-term it was going to be. I like the deal. You secure the other side. You got your star on the one side with TJ Watt. Now we get Alex Highsmith back there. Like Ace, you made the thing about Devin Bush. He didn't really work out, so Highsmith ended up getting the money there. I think is kind of the situation. We got Minka back there. I really like what we have on the defensive side of the ball going into this year, and I think it's a good move to secure one of your young guys for 4 more years.
Yeah, you gotta hope that he really lives up to that paycheck, because That's asking a lot, in my opinion, for a guy that wasn't as highly of a touted of a prospect. Some of these other names, I'm thinking maybe they're just keeping pace with the Ravens after they gave the bag to Roquan. So, I mean, Highsmith, that whole defense is going to be good no matter what. I like the Tomlin defenses all the time. Surprised they gave up that much money to keep him, but let's see if he earns it.
Tomlin's big on him. I didn't think they were going to lose him. I wasn't too big on him his rookie year, but he's grown on me. I have started to like him a lot more.
I definitely like
Steelers,
that. Okay.
The Steelers are wide receiver and linebacker just factories. They just find guys. Other than Devin Bush, he was a dud, but we've been good with linebackers and receivers.
Yeah, he wasn't really a project or built by the system anyways. Bush was more of just a top prospect that didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah. A lottery pick that just was a bust.
Let's move forward, back again with another week of positional rankings heading into the new season. This week, we're going to shift our focus to the defensive side of the ball, starting with the most skilled group, the cornerbacks. Who wants to get us going on this one?
I definitely want to get us going because I have a list that is definitely very different than the boys. I know that they're going to be mad about my first honorable mention, but I'll get right into it. So coming in at my honorable mention, I got Patrick Surtain. At number 5, I have Jair Alexander. Number 4, Darius Slay. Number 3, Jalen Ramsey. Number 2, Marshawn Lattimore. And number 1, I went with Sauce Gardner. I mean, it seems like a pretty tough list. I know you guys probably have Surtain up there. I like some of these experienced names, though. Like Lat, he's locked down. I think he's one of the most slept on guys. Ramsey's still him. I know that he's had his gaffes, mostly in that Super Bowl. And we've seen him get burnt a few times, but you don't want to see him line up against you. And then Darius Slay, after the year he just had, I know you can attribute that to the pass rush mostly, but with those Eagles, they went to the Super Bowl, and he's him. And you saw him lock down Justin Jefferson. I think he had like 2 interceptions of Kirk Cousins when they matched up, top receiver in the league versus one of the top cornerbacks. So got to have him at 4. And then my boy Jair, getting him in there at 5. Gotta love it. And Sauce, don't even need to say anything. Enough said. I do expect some regression for Sauce Gardner this year.
It's a good list. I actually do like that list. I can get into mine. I'm going to give my honorable mentions to both Cowboys, Stephon Gilmore and Trayvon Diggs. Not quite getting into that top 5, but they're definitely right there. Number 5, I'm going to go Marshawn Lattimore. Number 4, Jair Alexander. Number 3, Darius Slay. Number 2, I'm going to go with Sauce Gardner. And number 1, I'm going to go Jalen Ramsey. Sauce definitely has the potential to be number 1, but I want to see him prove it for another year first. I know he had a good year last year, but he was a rookie last year, so prove it again, and he'll definitely take over that reign. But you got to give it to the vet right now.
Yeah, Mackie, it's crazy that you went with Jalen Ramsey number 1. I honestly didn't think any of you guys would have Jalen Ramsey as number 1 anymore, but I thought about putting him up there, but I dropped him down a few pegs. I think his prime's past him, but he's definitely the guy. When you think of top cornerbacks, you're like, oh, I don't want to see Jalen Ramsey every week. And
you are thinking of Jalen Ramsey. You think the best cornerback in the league, 90% of people are thinking of Jalen Ramsey, even if the stats haven't been there the last season or since the Super Bowl, but he's right.
He's on the scouting report every week. We'll say that. Yeah. But Trayvon Diggs, love that honorable mention. I'm higher on him than most other people because I know that he gets burnt sometimes, but that's like not liking a home run hitter that hits for a low average. Those interceptions are so crucial. The turnovers are so important in today's NFL, in my opinion. He's put up double digits, and he gets some help now with the former number 1 overall cornerback, Stephon Gilmore. So I expect the 2 of them to ball out down in Dallas this year.
Alrighty, I'll run my list off here. Number 5, I got Stephon Gilmore, Mackie. I was going between him and Trayvon Diggs. I mean, I know him and Lattimore and Trayvon Diggs. Those are my 3 for that top 5 position, but I just couldn't decide, so I went with Stephon Gilmore for sure. But number 4, Patrick Surtain. Number 3, Darius Slay. Number 2, Jalen Ramsey. And number 1, Sauce Gardner. I mean, I think it's just similar to your guys' list, but just different.
Yeah, I'm not even happy about the number 1 pick like you, Jesse, with Sauce Gardner, but like the numbers don't lie. But I think I don't know about you, but I think he regresses a bit this year. He's not going to be bad by any means. I think he falls out.
When you said that, I actually kind of agree. I think he might like come out hot and then just like plateau, or like
sophomore
he might
slumps
start
are
slow,
a real
or
thing.
like, I'm not 100% sure, but going to do one of the following.
Yeah, I believe in the sophomore slump, especially in a good division. Think about who he has to cover: Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill twice a year, and I don't know. Jets they're gonna have the spotlight on them now. I mean, they didn't really last year, but he's gonna be looked at to be the guy on one of the teams that's supposed to be contending.
Maybe
Absolutely.
the Hard Knocks will get to him.
Yeah,
I have a obviously pretty similar names to Ace, different order. My honorable mention is actually going to be Jalen Ramsey. With the cornerback position, I value the young legs similar to the running back position. That's short prime. My top 3, you'll see that. Number 5, I got Marshawn Lattimore. Number 4, Jair Alexander. Not necessarily a fan of his personality. I think he's kind of a weird dude, but great dude, or a hell of a football player on the field. Number 3, I don't know if anyone said Tariq Woolen. I got him in here, the young corner up in Seattle. I really liked what he did last year with the Seahawks. Number 2, I'm going to go Sauce Gardner at 2. And number 1, I'm going to put my guy Pat Surtain. I think the consistency that he's brought to that Denver Broncos defense is going to be the reason I put him up there at number 1. Like Ace said, I just need to see another year out of Sauce before I can put him at the number 1 spot.
Yeah, I should have known you were gonna go with your Denver boy. You love Ross, you love Surtain. I mean, he's a lockdown corner. I got him sitting just outside of my 5, giving respect to the OGs.
Corners are so, there's no set in stone, but mine, obviously the theme with mine is I obviously put the 3 young heads up top.
2 things you really got to remember too when you're looking at cornerback ratings is how good is the pass rush that supports them, and then how well they fare against some of the top receivers. That's why I have Slay in my top 5. I think when him shutting down Justin Jefferson and then having a Super Bowl type year, I mean, that's just elite, and he's one of the better personalities, unlike Jair, like you said. I'm surprised you have Woolen that high though. I think his potential, his ceiling is there. I think he's for me, he's outside of my top 8 right now, but he's definitely got the potential to scoot into the top 5 with top 3 similar performance.
Tariq Woolen. Yeah, I know what you mean. So I feel like it is early, but
he was underrated too. He wasn't as highly drafted as Sauce.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Where did he go? Was he a first rounder?
I don't know. I don't think he was a first rounder.
Yeah.
But I mean, even last year, I can look that up. Even last year, a lot of people just playing up in Seattle, a team that didn't have a lot of expectations. No, everyone kind of forgot about him. Him and Quandre Diggs in that defensive backfield. I think that's a pretty nice.
As close as they can get to the recreation of the Legion of Boom.
Tariq Woolen was picked 153rd overall.
Exactly, great value. I want to see another year of it before I put him anywhere up there. But what he displayed last year, it's coming. The speed itself is just blinding.
Yeah, the little guy. Actually, how big is he? He's not that small. He's just fast.
Yeah, he's thin, I think. A lot of those
I like
guys
that.
are.
That's what I like with Surtain and Sauce is they're 6'2" corners that are 208 pounds, 205 pounds.
Tariq Woolen 6'4".
Damn, so he's definitely not. He's bigger. He's bigger than all.
6'4", 209. It's like fitting your perfect. Huff's top 3 quarterbacks all fit his perfect profile for what he wants on the field.
I was gonna say for a perfect cornerback, that's what you want to be. 6'3", 6'4". Would you say 209?
Yeah.
Damn, he's that fast. Fuck,
yep.
He's a big.
You get those 2 guys. You get 2 of those 3 on the outside. You put someone like Trayvon Diggs in the slot. Boy, that would be one hell of a secondary.
Yeah, that'd be pretty. You can't throw on that team.
No. Imagine Trayvon Diggs is like a second option on your cornerback depth chart. I mean, the chances he takes and the home runs he hits with those turnovers.
He'd end up playing like slot, not like slot linebacker, but like slot, just kind of like shadow quarterback more than I feel like actually cover a receiver if he wasn't the top guy.
Yeah, he'd be covering that slot for sure. Good list though. I like the cornerback position ever changing. So when we do this again next year, you know that I wouldn't be surprised if half those lists are completely different.
I was gonna say 2 of the guys from my list will probably not be in there, and there will probably 2 or 3 random guys that slide in.
Yep.
Every year there is.
Yeah, boys, that's a good one. Cornerbacks, big spot there. So what are we doing next week, Ace?
I think we're going to drop back, stay in the defensive backfield, drop back to safeties, group together strong and free.
Cool.
Oh, we know who's number 1 there.
Oh, wonder who. He might be a Steeler. He might be.
He's pretty good. He's a game changer. I love him on the kick on the special teams.
He's a dog. That was the best first round pick the Steelers ever used.
He's gonna be my number one too.
You think? I can't think of mine off the top of my head. There's a lot of good ones though. There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Good stuff there, boys. Next up is there's been 3 players named to the notorious 99 Club for the upcoming season. The group consists of Justin Jefferson of the Vikings, Zach Martin of the Cowboys, and Aaron Donald of the Rams. With their positional rating releases continuing over the next few days, who else do we think joins this elite group?
Mahomes. Anybody else? I don't know.
Mahomes, Kelsey,
Tucker?
they'll both be it.
Tucker.
I don't know. Tucker. Who's the defensive guy that's going to be it?
It's Donald already.
I know, but there's usually 2.
You think Sauce gets it?
No, not yet.
Not even close.
Imagine that'd be so bad. Nah, maybe TJ Watt. I think I'll sit like 98, 97.
No, they dropped the edge ratings. He didn't get that.
What did he get?
So
like
who's
the
left?
96?
I think he's 98 maybe.
That's
Who's left?
I think the quarterbacks, maybe the tight ends. Kelsey
and Mahomes are 2 of them.
I don't think they'll give it to both of them.
Kelsey's
I think this is the one year they'll give it to both of them.
They just won the Super Bowl again, and you say like, oh, he's getting old, he's got to be on a decline, but what does he do wrong? He draws double coverage every play. I'm thinking definitely Patrick Mahomes. That's the easy answer, but I don't know if we'll see another one. Will be interesting though. Justin Jefferson, shout out to the boy, best receiver in the league. Definitely deserve it.
What did they give TJ Watt?
I think he's like a 98.
It's got to be 98.
That's such a cuck. They're like, yeah, you're a 98.
Did you see the report from Zach Martin today, kind of going in conjunction with his 99 overall rating, talking about how he's criminally underpaid?
I sent that to you guys. I was like, and he might consider sitting out.
He saw his rating and he was like, fuck this. I need more money.
That's funny.
Nah, that'll suck, though. Another thing going wrong for this fucking team. Sorry. But he's so angry.
All right, here we go. TJ Watt. Oh, that's just power moves. I thought it was the overall. I was going to say, what?
Yeah, I hate when they show me those kinds of numbers, and then I get confused because I immediately think overall, too.
What was it?
No, here we go.
They'll show you like their power move rating. It's like, I don't care.
TJ Watt's a 94. He's the 4th ranked. In Madden, he's ranked 4th out of all edge rushers. At number 1, you have Nick Bosa, then Myles Garrett, then Michael Parsons, then TJ Watt.
Jeez.
Probably, you know what definitely contributes to that, though, is being off the field for so many games last year.
They love Micah as well. I don't know if I'd put Micah over TJ Watt just yet.
I would. Are you kidding me?
Dude, TJ Watt's a dog, bro. When he's on the field, the Steelers are literally just a different team.
Dude, literally last year when he played, we won. When he didn't play,
how many games did he miss though, Huff?
No, I remember they were like 2-0 or 1-1 with him maybe. Then they're like 1-7. They come back and they win a game.
Yeah,
he's the most impactful player out of every DN out there.
I
definitely put him over Myles Garrett.
Yeah. Also,
Myles Garrett's Mr. Consistent though.
Yeah, I don't.
Think about that. How bad that Browns defense is. If you take Myles Garrett off that Browns defense, they're literally nothing.
I'd love to take Myles Garrett off
TJ Watt off that Steelers defense. We saw that they were literally nothing.
I think it's because of the injuries, just coming off injury, missing too many games.
That's the only thing that makes sense. I think he's the most valuable defensive player in the league.
It's crazy though that the Cowboys have 2 guys rated over 90 coming into this new Madden game. Obviously, you can't take video game ratings into too much account, but DeMarcus Lawrence coming at 90 as well. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, they should be good, right?
Yeah,
they should have Super Bowl, shouldn't they?
I mean, we're just talking about one side of the ball. Other side's a little overrated.
Zach Martin's in 99.
Yeah, but their running back, they just cut their starting running back. Their quarterback can't stay on the field.
But he's not throwing 10 picks this year.
Yeah. Actually, I saw his unders 14.5, which I like. I like him under 14.5.
I saw 13.
The problem is, when you're drop balls turn into interceptions all the time. They don't have to be your fault.
No, but my thought process was he's probably not going to be on the field for every game, so that number is going to be lower. I don't think he's throwing 14 anyway.
It takes 1, 2, or I don't think he'd have a 3-pick game. It takes 1, 2-pick game to inflate that number.
I'll tell you what. We're going back to those 99 ratings. Besides Patrick Mahomes, I mean, Justin Jefferson puts up the most video game like numbers week in and week out. You see him like with 17 catches for 220 yards and 2 touchdowns in real life.
Yeah, that's good. That's exactly why he got the 99.
Yeah, Aaron Donald. I mean, perennial. we went over that thing I sent in the group chat the other day. It was named the best defensive player over the past decade or 21st century. I think it's got to be Aaron Donald. That guy's year in and year out, Super Bowl now, getting triple teamed, double teamed, and he still breaks through. He's a walking Hall of Famer. I know he's considered walking away from the game. Happy he hasn't yet, but that guy's insane. Probably the best defensive player of our lifetime. One of them.
One of them, yeah. People forget how good J.J. Watt was just because he was on a bad team.
Yeah, but Donald's been doing it longer. I feel like his prime's going to be longer than Watt's was by the time he hangs him up.
Yeah. Watt had the back-to-back-to-back defensive player of the year, and it wasn't even fucking close, though.
How many does Donald have, 2?
I think he has the back-to-back.
Yeah. He has the ring, though.
Garrett and Watt had the crazy year that Donald was up for his third, I think. I could be wrong on that. Let me look that up.
Donald has that ring, though. I mean, that's
absolutely.
Players into account.
On the team that drafted him, didn't chase it. They chased the ring. They went and signed every fucking player they could.
He
but
just
that's
showed
not
up
his
and
fault.
did his job.
Yeah.
He's the reason they were able to chase a ring.
Yeah. You got him holding up the defense. He's won defensive player of the year 3 times. Aaron Donald has. Let me look up J.J. Watt.
Yeah, and he's not even close to done yet. He's not even slowing down. If he hangs him up, it's on his own account, not because he doesn't have the skill anymore.
Yeah, you're right. They both have 3 times. Yeah, I guess J.J. Watt's not right there. But J.J. Watt was just it seemed like he was so dominant for so long. But, I mean, he did have a shorter career.
Yeah, injuries really riddled him, but Donald able to stay on the field. I just love the graphics of Aaron Donald beating triple teams.
I think the Steelers got the better Watt brother, but we'll see. There's just a lot better defensive
More
guys
explosive.
right now. It's harder now. Watt, TJ's not going to win 3 defensive players of the year only because there's Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons still hasn't won one, Bosa. There's all those guys. Unless Watt comes out, has a completely healthy 17-game season and goes for however many sacks and sets the record, that's the only way I see him getting another one.
Yeah, longevity.
I don't know. Next
sure.
year would be the year to get his second. I'm saying a 3 is going to be really hard to get.
Sure. I'm excited to watch those guys come off the edge. It's probably one of the most electrifying things is when those superstar edge rushers light up a quarterback.
Blind, they don't even see it coming too. TJ's celebration's so hype.
Alrighty, boys, we're just 50 days away from the NFL season. You guys ready?
Yeah, I've gotten a little bit more interested in this conversation as we've started talking about the NFL.
It just gets the blood flowing.
It really just gets you going. Fantasy. I've started thinking about fantasy football.
Can I turn on Red Zone now? No, you can't. You gotta keep waiting.
Yeah, then reality hits you and you realize you're still gonna be sad for the next 7 weeks.
Mac, you're sad all year as a Cowboys fan.
No, I'm still enjoying it.
I got a lot. I'm so fucking ready for the NFL season. Because I don't know. I can handle a couple weeks of the NFL season before NHL and NBA, but once NFL comes, that's when we're back to fall, and that's prime sports.
Yeah, and so many question marks, so many things to unravel. It's still a lot that has to unfold before we even get there. We haven't even hit training camp yet. We have a lot of big free agents out there. I mean, they've announced those primetime games. We're buying our tickets. Huff's already got 3 scheduled NFL games to go to. I'm ready to roll.
We're ready. We're ready, boys. We're getting down to the wire. I know Mackie said, 7 weeks, but we're getting there. Next up, we got the NBA. The Vegas Summer League Series has concluded. The Cleveland Cavaliers are the winner of that. Perfect 6-0 record, finishing it off with a win against the Houston Rockets. Jeez, I'm thinking MLB. Isaiah Mobley wins the Summer League Finals MVP. Dropped the game high 28 points, 11 rebounds, and a double-double. What do you guys think? Did we enjoy this Summer League? I didn't watch any of it, but...
I didn't watch any of it. I'll say what I said to you guys when they got that trophy. I do think it's kind of crazy they get a trophy for only playing 6 games in a tournament in the middle of Vegas in the summer, but I don't know. Did you guys watch any of this? Once Wembanyama was shut down, that was right when I was going to kind of maybe tune into a Spurs game, but I'm good on waiting for the regular season. I don't need to watch Summer League.
Yeah, I tuned into a bit of it as they had it on.
Wait, I don't mean to cut you off.
Before.
The last Summer League game I watched was the Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, those Lakers, when they were the shit coming in.
Baby Lakers. Yeah. Kuzma popped off. No, I actually tuned into a bit of it. Not so much by choice, just the only thing on at the bar. I think on one TV they had cornhole, and the other TV they had NBA Summer League. I was like, all right, well, we're going to be watching a little bit of the Summer League. So I got to see some of those young guys play. Probably didn't know too many of them, but I did get to see Amani Bates flexing his championship ring on Instagram. I don't know if you guys saw that. That's crazy. They get like these iced out rings.
Dude, I'd sell that so fast.
I read a good story too about a guy, I believe he was on the Knicks. Did you guys read that as well? The guy that worked his way onto the roster and like was barely guaranteed any minutes in the first few games. He kept working and then he got looks from NBA teams. It's a good story. I can't remember the name, but definitely a good one to read. A lot of those guys, that's how you make a career for yourselves. I mean, summer basketball not too important to us, but if you're being a fringe guy, even get into the G League sometimes. Good.
Alrighty, and our last point in the NBA, LeBron James has once again changed his jersey number. Los Angeles Lakers star switched his number from 6 to 23. How do we think this affects his legacy moving forward?
Ace, I knew you put this in here as soon as I read the last question.
How does this affect LeBron's legacy?
As soon as I read the last question, that's why I started laughing. But I sent this. He needs to just stop switching numbers at this point. I feel like he switches every year at this point.
He should have threw a wild card and went with like 37.
I think the Lakers. I think he probably got in trouble for getting swept in the Western Conference Finals when they could have walked the Lakers into another championship. So they had to agree to selling more merchandise by changing his number back to 23.
They missed out on a lot of ticket sales and TV money.
Yeah, you make up for it really quick. Oh, LeBron James changing his number. I'll buy right in.
I'm glad he's switching back to 23. When I think of LeBron, I think of 23. I never liked the 6 in Miami, or I really didn't like when he just randomly switched to it in LA for no reason. I like the 23 LeBron.
Off right here. That's why. Money.
Yeah.
But I like the 23 as well. I'm happy. Maybe that's a precursor to him going and playing with his son. His son will grab 6 one day.
LeBron will fucking switch again back to 6, and then his son will wear 23 or some stupid shit like that.
But just like everything else, it affects his legacy. So we had to make
dude,
it
I love him so much, but like Mackie, you said it. Like I see how people hate him for shit like this. It's just like he loves staying in the news. Like he didn't need to announce this. I mean, sooner or later people would have figured it out. Like I feel like he made a big deal about it. He wanted to make a big deal. Like I'm doing this out of respect for Bill Russell.
Posted it? Did he post on Instagram for it?
No, I don't know how it was announced. I just saw it, but like he does this kind of shit. Like you heard it, like at the ESPYs, perfect example. Like I won't be retiring, and lucky for you guys, that's not today. It's like
he's such a cornball, dude. You're like 40 years old.
Yeah, but that's how he stays in the media. He's reminds me of like him and Tom Brady pull a lot of the same stunts. But
Tom Brady's way less corny than him, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you say that. Then
LeBron does it for the cameras more.
Yeah, definitely.
You guys saw my take on LeBron the other day. Root against him. Not the biggest fan of the guy, but I do like LeBron James. Every time he's on TV, it's must watch.
Yeah, you have to. It's like that. What's that bowling guy with the funny quote? Who do you think you are?
I am. Like, dude, you just
that dude also has another iconic quote. It's like whether you hated me or loved me, you watched.
Yeah, that was pretty dope too.
That dude has some iconic quotes.
That is the most badass bowler of all time.
They have him on Part of My Take all the time. He's actually they asked him about all that shit. It was so funny. That's the only reason I know who he is.
He's a dog, dude.
Good stuff there, boys. Let's shift our focus over to our last point of the show, golf. The Open Championship is this weekend at Royal Liverpool Golf Course in England. 2022 Open Championship champion Cam Smith returned the claret jug this past week and will be looking to bring it back home. Who are you guys leaning on to take home the hardware this weekend in the UK? I got some of the odds here to run through. Starting it off, Scotty Scheffner is leading the pack at plus 650, Rory McIlroy at plus 750, John Rahm plus 1200, Brooks Koepka at plus 1800, and Cam Smith at plus 2200. Patrick Cantlay also plus 2200. That's your top 6. Anybody else you guys want to hear? What are you thinking?
Whenever I bet golf, I feel like Scotty's definitely the most safe bet every
Always
time.
throwing him.
He's just so consistent. He's always up in the conversation. I know he has the worst odds in that plus 650, but
he just can't putt.
I think he's the only guy that you're almost guaranteed he's going to finish top 10.
That's what I was gonna say, Mac. It's nice to have him on your card when you throw in a few long shots because at least you're gonna have someone in the race at the end.
He's almost a security blanket. I know the odds aren't the best.
Mackie, with what you both just said, I'll give you an interesting one that I heard on that foreplay pod the other day. They said, and I found it right here on FanDuel. Scotty Scheffler to be in the top 20 after round 1 is plus 105 on FanDuel.
What's his top 20 after final?
Just total top 20. It's probably minus.
It's probably minus like 500.
Because he is the type to like shoot even on day 1 and then shoot minus 4 on day 2.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's plus. That's why it's plus money. I'd take the chance on that though. You don't get him plus money for one round like that normally.
You're not wrong, Huff. It's not bad
value. Not a bad bet.
But that's like Mac. I agree with Mackie on this one. I can't bet early round golf. I have to bet the full thing.
I usually don't bet golf until Sunday.
I can't find like.
I do like 2 to 3 long shots before.
And the only reason I usually bet is I'm sitting there watching golf. And
you're gonna get some skin in the game.
Mackie, Scotty top 20 for the whole thing is minus 300.
Yeah, like that's
not a bad parlay piece if you got something else coming up.
What's he top 10 though?
Top 10 minus 155.
Oh, that's a good bet.
Big minus 110.
Top 5 plus 135.
No, that's not worth it.
I wish you get like top 7,
top 5 right there.
I was gonna say, and so many guys tie, and it fucks everything up.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd go long shot. Colin Morikawa plus 3,000. He's pretty consistent as well. I know he has some bad runs here, but I don't know. I like him. I think he's been playing pretty good golf.
That was actually one of the ones I had my eyes on. I like the value on that. I've been liking Brooks. I just feel like Jon Rahm hasn't done much lately.
Rory just can't get there.
Yeah, I'm not taking Rory. I feel like that's going to be a heavy favorite pick with him playing over there. But I like that pick, Mackie. The plus 3,000, that's definitely tempting.
I'm interested to see the odds for when we get down to Dallas of me and Mackie versus the Yinzers. I mean, probably be coming at plus money, but you want to put the house on that.
I don't know if we're going to be plus money. I'm going to have that stroke going, man.
I'm going to be like the guy that just gets interviewed like, yeah, Mackie's playing fucking great. I'm deleting the Miller Lights and the irons, so.
Ace is going to be the one on hole 18 where I chunk mine and he just puts it to 3 feet.
Just like out of nowhere, it's like, got you.
Yeah, he has like seven good shots all game, but when it matters, he's there.
Yeah, that's all that matters. You got to hit one, affect the score somehow, and you're in the game.
No, it's going to be fun, though. I'm excited to play golf when we're there.
It's going to be awesome.
Excited for the whole trip, get some good content out of it, and definitely have a good time down there.
Alrighty, I think that's just going to about wrap up everything we got this week. Lots of good stuff. 50 days till the NFL season. The boys kind of already preluded to it, but we're going to the Dallas Cowboys New England Patriots game first weekend of October, I believe, in
September
Dallas.
29th.
Yeah, September 29th. Yeah. So we're real excited to get down there, play some golf, get some content out, see some football. But that's all I got this week, boys. Episode 47 in the books. Got anything else to add before we go?
Yeah, I think that's it. Like normal, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully we have some more news to dive into with some of these NFL free agents and what's going on with some of these teams. But other than that, like we said, thanks for listening. Give us a like, follow, share, subscribe, wherever you're listening at. The whole 9 yards on social media. Make sure you're staying tuned for all the daily plays. Other than that, we'll see you guys next week.
Hit them books.